Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Psyched to have my next guest on, man. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Great actor. You've seen him in everything. He's had parts in Goodfellas, The Departed, and tons of other stuff. Just a really, really great actor. And he's got a band going now with his friend Daniel Harnett, who he's known around since 1996, maybe, according to you. I don't know. Maybe Daniel knows for sure. This is Kevin Corrigan, and Daniel Harnett.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Well,
how's it going? Yeah, no, we were trying to figure out before how.
I asked Kevin how long you known each other. He said about 96 or something, right?
Roughly 96.
yeah, he used to come see my first band, Glim. We were called Glim,
Right.
and that's where we met.
Yeah, we didn't meet at Sinead. That's like
No.
like
Yeah, I was playing like ABC No Rio and Cafe Bustelo in like 1999.
Wow. Okay.
Stuff like that, open mics, and then started playing. At
Where are you from,
Sinead.
Daniel?
The city.
You from the city?
Yeah, Upper West Side.
Okay. And Kev, you're from the Bronx, you said?
Yep.
Yeah. So now, how long have you guys wanted to try to like have a band thing going on?
Well, I've been a fan of his music, just a fan, and then like we fell out of touch for a little while, and then around like 2006, 2007, 6, 7,
Yeah.
we got back in touch for an acting project I was trying to do, but then I started archiving, Daniel's cassettes. He has about like 500 of them, and I
Wow.
said, "Can I borrow some of these?" And and there were just like all these gems on, just like really amazing songs, and I was trying to work my Boss BR8 digital 8-track thing that gave me some, stuff to test my gear on.
Yeah.
And I ended up like just sort of burning CDs for him and going to his shows and plotting to get in the band.
Now, are you a musician in your own right? I mean, what do you play?
Yeah, I picked up a guitar when I was 19, which is late.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. And then I tried to have, I had some bands, we played at like the Spiral, and we didn't really make much of an impact.
Right.
But I just loved, I just love music as you do, but when I hooked up with Dan, I was like, finally, I'm actually associated with a real songwriter.
It's a fun thing to know how to do. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
And in the last 4 months, he's just like notch up, notch up, notch up.
Just getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So writing songs, I mean, the music's melody, lyrics, what?
He writes them.
You write those.
Yeah, that record I gave you was produced by Kevin.
Let me see.
Yeah,
and my friend Richard.
You produced this.
Yeah, Kevin did with my friend Richard and myself, and but
Yeah, all those songs started out as these like cassette demos, and I was
Right.
like, these should be fully produced songs.
yeah, he kind of cherry picked them from the cassettes.
I made
and
an
then
album.
So
you know,
you're
I-
good with like a 4-track, right? You're good with the.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you know how to
no.
produce a record?
No, I don't. I don't even know how to bounce. Like
Yeah.
I remember I had my BR8 for like 2 years, and I finally was like,
Explain what a BR8 is. What is that?
it's a Boss, the company Boss. It's a digital 8-track recorder.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
it's about this big. You can take it
Right.
anywhere, and but I learned about I mastered about 30% of the capabilities of this machine.
Yeah.
And one of the most basic ones, bouncing, I never did.
And you were able to produce this record.
Well, no, actually,
A lot of it.
Daniel has a friend who's been a friend of mine now for a few years, named Richard Martin.
Right.
And they made a studio album a couple of years ago called Hey Richard.
I called it Hey Richard.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And he's a multi-instrumentalist, and he's really the sonic.
Under the Veil Unseen.
Yeah, that was when he was going to take my cassettes that people like of my friends hadn't
Right.
heard, and I was thinking we'll call it like something like unveiling something.
Now, when did you start writing songs, Daniel? I mean,
Well, last year in high school, at Performing Arts. High
yeah.
school.
Is that where you went? You went
That's
to-
when, yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't stopped since.
You just got into writing songs.
Yeah, it was
What were
always-
they about? Like at first, like what?
Just whatever how depressed I was at the moment, or who I.
That's how I write my comedy.
There you go.
Exactly.
Who I wanted to love, or who didn't love me at the moment.
Right, okay.
But it just became compulsive from the get-go.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
And musically, what instruments do you play?
I play guitar and
You
sing. I play
guitar.
harmonica. I play a little bass, but mostly acoustic guitar and also electric. And he got me back into the electric. My first band, I was playing my Telecaster, and he started. They say you should play your electric. You know, it's like
Is electric easier?
It's easier, but it's heavier.
Right.
Especially at my age now. I got a 74 Telly, and it's heavy.
Wow.
But I'm getting used to it again. And
I'll
and we
say.
got a good, like I'm starting.
He was into this. He had this folk rock thing going. Great band.
Yeah.
That they had a regular. They played regularly at Lakeside Lounge.
Okay.
Play some banjo gyms.
And all those places started closing down. That was another thing.
That's what I was going to say. You mentioned all these places. It's kind of sad because a lot of places shut down, right?
That kind of egged me on. I was like, I gotta get involved here. This is crazy. What are these clubs closing down for? Well, there are all kinds of reasons for that.
Right.
Well, I was concerned about the music and about the musical culture, the East Village or whatever. Just
Hey, the
musical
East
culture.
Village has changed in ways. It's like insane. I mean, when you go down there now, it's a lot of it's sad, man. It's frat boys throwing up all over each other now.
Yeah, man. It's like where we're gonna play. There's still places. We play at Sidewalk Cafe a lot, where you played in the '90s. So when it didn't have a stage, now
Right.
it has one. I didn't know it back then. No, I'm a little late. I'm sort of late to the party. That's another thing.
Well, you were doing. That's a good point. I mean, you knew Daniel. You were a fan, but you had an acting career that really took off, and that takes you away from. How did you start acting?
Did
you go to performing arts as well?
No, I wanted to. I
Okay.
wanted to go to performing arts. I ended up going to the High School of Art and Design,
Okay,
which I guess I thought they were the same thing.
right.
I mean, I took the test to get into art and design. I was kind of, my mother's an artist, and I was kind of going in that direction with drawing and painting. I used to paint jackets, like denim jackets in the 80s.
Right, I had a couple of buddies who did that, like Iron Maiden and stuff. Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Yes,
One of my-
amazing Iron Maiden.
Oh, really? One of my buddies, Gene Fabio, actually made a lot of money doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
'Cause the kids-
666 number of the beast. And,
Yeah, I did the Trooper
Right.
4 times. It was the most popular design.
That's great.
Yeah. And then but I couldn't. I didn't last longer than a couple of weeks at art and design.
Okay.
So I was able to transfer back to the school I would have gone to, which was Mount St. Michael in the Bronx.
All right.
And just sort of a side note, one of my classmates, well, at least in the free period, was Sean Combs.
Okay.
So I people would be like kind of
Puff
sleeping,
Daddy.
Puff Daddy. You know,
Right.
so they'd be, I forget who was Mr. Valance. He was a social studies teacher, but he would take attendance. So they're Combs here, Corrigan here. Years later, it was like, remember that guy? You remember him? Sean Combs?
That's hilarious.
That's Pete Diddy. That's
Did you lose track of him and then not know of him until he got real famous again, or were you friendly with him?
I didn't know him.
Okay.
I didn't know him. But
Well, I know- did you go to art and design with our other mutual friend Kamal? Did you go there with him?
no, but I've
'Cause
met.
He went there.
Yes, he did.
Kamal,
Yeah.
the Jerky Boys. Yeah.
That's right. I think he graduated from there. Did he?
I don't know if he
I
graduated.
don't know either. But it's funny because I met a lot of people that I probably would have known if I'd stayed there.
Right.
I met them later on, like Kamal, like a dozen other people.
Interesting group of guys. Well, I met you once years ago. You probably don't remember this. I met you at the Improv in L.A. in 1995. You walked in there with, who's the actor? Michael Rappaport. Michael Rappaport wanted to do stand-up. And I was at the Improv in Los I was on Mad TV with our other friend David Herman.
Yeah.
And I would go on weeknights after rehearsals to do stand-up sets at the Improv Laugh Factory. So I was in there doing a set. I came off stage and I was loaded out of my mind. But Rappaport came in to try stand-up, and you were with him.
Yeah.
And, and I met you. David Herman already told me he knew you, so I called David on a payphone and said, "Hey, we're Karen." I was bugging you probably because I was drunk. But I remember Rappaport went up, and he looked like he was not a stand-up comic.
Yeah, we're friends again.
Right.
We were friends for a long time before that.
Yeah. This is 95, literally.
95. Yeah. And I remember that night.
So, do you really?
I do. I remember because of Michael.
Right.
I might have been wasted too, and don't remember you.
I was memorable and forgettable all at the same time, put it that way. But
I was wasted enough to level with Mike too.
somebody had to.
Yeah, and then we our friendship went on hiatus eventually for a little while. But now he's on this show that I'm doing.
Oh,
now,
really?
too.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.